Okay, so what these notes are going to be is factoring with an a value. And so we've done a lot of factoring, but most of the factoring we have not had anything up front here. And we're going to have some up front today that you're not able to take a GCF out. So just like we talked about before, and I try and mention this all the time, always look for a GCF first. If you can do that, it's going to make your problem easier, and everybody likes to do easier problems. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do this. So when we were doing this before, we were just, like if I gave you a problem that said x squared plus 7x plus 12, we were finding the factors of 12, right? We're still doing that, but now that there's an a value in front, we have to actually multiply that. So we're not just finding the factors of 5, we're finding the factors of 6 times 5. And so 6 times 5 is 30. So we have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. And so it's the same concept. This last sign tells you what to do, and we're going to add. And this time we're adding to get 17. So my numbers that add to give 17 are 2 and 15. Now here's where it's different. On this problem here, this example, and you don't have to write this example down, we know our factors that add to give you 7 are 3 and 4. So we could just throw a 3 and 4 in parentheses. For a values, you have a bigger step. So what I have to do is I'm going to put the 2 and 5. I'm going to put a 2x, and then I'm going to put a 5x. Doesn't matter, not a 5x, but a 2x and a 15x. It doesn't matter if you put the 15x first or the 2x first, it will work out. Okay, so the only way I can get a positive 17 is if they're both positives. All right, so now what I do is I'm going to break this into 2 sets of parentheses. Let's see if I can do something real quick. I'm going to try and cover this up. Oh, that didn't work. I was going to try and cover it up. It's not going to work. So we're going to just kind of do this. I'm going to do a thick marker and cross this off. You guys don't cross it off. I'm just crossing it off right now because if we were in class, I would have physically put something over it to cover it, and we can't do that. So now what I'm going to do is I look here. What can I take out of 6x squared and 2x? Well, 2 goes into both of them, but they both have an x I can take out. So since I can take out a 2x, I have 2x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. I had 2 x's, I took 1 out, so I'm left with 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I had an x, but I took it out. So that's what I have here. 2x parentheses 3x plus 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing over here. Let's change colors. Let's go to blue. That's kind of, we'll do green. And I find a GCF on the right. And so my GCF on the right that goes into 15 and into 5 is 5. So because it's a plus, I take a positive 5. If it was a minus here, I'd take out the negative. I'm going to write plus 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and there's 1x. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now here's the thing that you look for. If your parentheses are the same, you've done it right. And so, because my parentheses are the same, that is my first answer. So my first answer is 3x plus 1. That's one of the answers. And so those two came down here. Now, the other answer is the stuff up front. This one and this one. And so that's my other answer, 2x plus 5. So again, if your parentheses is the same, you've done it correct, and that's one of your answers. Then you find the other answer by finding the stuff that's in front of the parentheses. And that's it. All right, let's try and do a couple examples. I'll do 2, and then I'll give you guys an opportunity to do 2. Okay, so the first thing we do again is it's not 6, it's 2 times 6, because the first times the last. So my factors are 12. 1 and 2, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. I'm looking to add to get 7. Well, that's 3 and 4. 2x squared comes down, the plus 6 comes down, and then I bring a 3x and a 4x. The only way you can get a positive 7 is if they're both positives. And now we're going to do our magical parentheses. So parentheses around the first one, parentheses around the next one. So in the first one, there's not a number that goes into 2 and into 3, so I'm just going to take out a 1. But I could also take out an x. So I have 1x. 1 divided by 2 is 2. Left with x. And then 3 divided by 1 is 3. Same thing on the next one. Out of 4 and 6, I could take out a 2. So it's a positive 2. So I'm left with 2x. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. If you notice, our parentheses are the same. So we found our first answer, 2x plus 3. And then our other answer is these things in front. 1x plus 2. And that's it. So what I'd like you to do for number 3 is, and we're going to go to number 2 next, so we're going to jump over here to the side. I would like you to find your factors of 12 and determine which one's going to give you the 11 you need. And once you think you have it, press play. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. If you're starting to get good at these in your head, you don't have to list them all out, but if you still struggle finding them, list them out. It makes you faster. Okay, so I have to subtract this time to get an 11. So it's this one. So it's 4x squared with the 1x, with the 12x, with a minus 3. Well, the only way I can get a negative 11 is if the 12 is negative, the bigger number is negative. Okay, so now we're going to do our parentheses. Okay, so what I would like you to do is I'd like you to try and see what you could take out of the first parentheses, see what you could take out of the next parentheses, and then press play when you think you have it. So in the first parentheses, the only thing you can take out is an x or a 1x. So I'm left with 4x plus 1. On the next parentheses, you could take out a negative 3. And the reason it's negative is because this first one's negative. So when I take out a negative 3, I get 4x. And then negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1. And look, we did it correctly. Our parentheses are the same. So our first answer is 4x plus 1. And remember, our second answer is these things in front. X minus 3. All right, so I would like you to try 2 and 4 on your own. When you think you have it, go ahead and press play. Okay, so your factors of 24 that add to give you 10 was 4 and 6. Take out an x, take out a 2, and you're left with 3x plus 4 and x plus 2. Okay, so this one, 2 times 3 is 6, and your factors that subtract to give you 1 are 2 and 3. And the only way you can get a negative in the middle is if the bigger number is negative. So now the GCF you could take out is a 2x from the first parentheses and a negative 3 from the second. And so when I do that, I get parentheses with x plus 1, which is correct. And the other is 2x minus 3. So writing these out and doing these, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. It is a little confusing at first, but with practice, you can easily get these.